You can fool people, but you can't fool God. Hello everyone, welcome to day 21 of our challenge. I am super duper elated that you have decided to embark on this journey. My name is Sister Latoya, but before we get started, let's send to our heart in prayer. Self be crucified. Lord, I pray for the spirit of wisdom and revelation in the knowledge of you. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Are you ready? Let's dig deeper. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whatsoever he will. Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord pondereth the heart. To do justice and judgment is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. The king's heart is like the channels of water in the hand of God. He turns it wherever he wishes. This truth reflects a broader biblical theme throughout the Bible that nothing will thwart the will of God. The King of Kings turned the heart of Pharaoh to Joseph, of Saul to David, of Nebuchadnezzar to the three Hebrews boys, of Darius to Daniel, of Cyrus, and afterwards of Alexander the Great to the Jewish people. And in moving a river, one does not need to carry each drop of water to a place where it is desired. If one can shape the banks and guide the direction of the river, the water will go where desired. And God does not need to do violence to the human heart in order to guide it. He may do it simple through arranging other circumstances like banks of a river to guide the flow where he wants it. Another example to see in Ezra 7 verse 21 are all examples of autocrats who, in pursuing their chosen course, flooded or fertilized God's field as he chooses. This principle is still in force. Verse 2, Elohim power of discernment goes beyond unmasking those who fool others. He even finds out those who have fooled themselves. And as we stated earlier, you can fool others, but you cannot fool God. An high look and a proud heart and the plowing of the wicked is sin. The thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteousness, but of everyone that is hasty only to want. The getting of treasures by a lying tongue is a vanity tossed to and fro of them that seek death. Pride is portrayed as the guiding light of the unrighteous. It's illuminated their path towards sinful actions. Blind prides individuals to God's counsel, eventually leading them astray. The Proverbs warn that arrogance rather than humility invites spiritual darkness and destructiveness. When good planning is combined with diligent work, there will be a harvest of plenty. The one who wants to avoid work finds every means, every shortcut, and cut corners will find failure instead of plenty. Their path leads to poverty. The acquisition of treasures through dishonest gain offer no lasting security. Deceitful practices not only fail to provide real satisfaction, but lead towards spiritual destruction. And that's why you see Solomon keep emphasizing the need to be honest in your gain. Robbery of the wicked shall destroy them because they refuse to do judgment. The way of a man is froward and strange, but as for the pure, his work is right. It is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. To rely on aggression or exploit others invite their own undoing. Interrupt this broadcasting to bring you our wisdom nugget for the day. Our wisdom nugget for the day is brought to you by our kind sponsor, King Solomon, and we are going to focus on verse 9. And it reads, "It is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house." The Hebrew word for brawling is midyan, and it's spelled M-I-D-Y-A-N, which means strife or contention. This verse states a hard truth. Physical hardship is more bearable than relational corrosion at home. A peaceful corner outdoors beat a comfortable house full of strife. This verse function as a warning to young men or to men in general that choosing a wife, and to the spouse already in a house full of contention to take seriously what such environment cost. And Solomon returned to this comparison twice in this chapter, in Proverbs 21 verse 9 and also in verse 19, and you will see that when we get to it. The soul of the wicked desired evil, his neighbor findeth no favor in his eyes. When the scorner is punished, the simple is made wise. And when the wise is instructed, he receiveth knowledge. The righteous man wisely consider the house of the wicked, but God overthroweth the wicked for their wickedness. Discipline as a corrective power for the offender, but also for those observing. Those who are naive learn from others' mistake, and already wise grow even wiser through instruction. The principle of teachability is strongly upheld in biblical wisdom literature. Whoso stoppeth his ears at the cry of the poor, he also shall cry himself, but shall not be heard. A gift in secret pacifieth anger, and a reward in the bosom strong wrath. It is of joy to the just to do judgment, but destruction shall be to the workers of iniquity. And that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. He that loveth pleasure shall be a poor man. He that loveth wine and oil shall not be rich. The wicked shall be a ransom for the righteous, and the transgressor for the upright. Overindulgence in luxury erodes financial and moral stability. By squandering resources on self-gratification, an individual neglect wiser, more fruitful investment. The verse encourages temperance and the cultivation of generous giving. It is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and a angry woman. There is a treasure to be desired and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man spendeth it. He that followeth after righteousness and mercy findeth life, righteousness and honor. This verse repeats the theme of preferring isolation over ongoing strife. A desert land in biblical times, such as the wilderness region beyond Jordan, was harsh, hot, and desolate. But this environment is presented as more peaceful than a home marked by unrelenting conflict. Devotion to what is right and faithfully yields abundant reward. Those who consistently seek ethical behavior experience fullness of joy, enjoy a reputation for integrity, and receive respect. God's design is such that virtue in the hand benefits those who walk in it. And Galatians 6 and verse 9 remind us not to be weary in well-doing, because we shall reap if we faint not. A wise man scaleth the city of the mighty, and casteth down the strength of the confidence thereof. Whoso keepeth his mouth and his tongue keepeth his soul from troubles. Proud and haughty scorner is his name, who dealeth in proud wrath. Wisdom is shown to triumph over brute force. Even a fortified city pales in comparison to sound strategy and God-given insight. Victory often belongs not to the physical strongest, but to those who operate in alignment with divine guidance. Two examples of this with David, how he was able to defeat Goliath. And also the children of Israel, they conquered nations that were mightier than them. And in Joshua 6 and verse 1, it said, "No, Jericho was straightly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out and none came in." And it is time for your homework. I want you to read Numbers 3 from 21 to 35, and that is going to tell you about the nation that were mightier than Israel, that they were able to conquer through divine intervention. Self-control protects one's life from needless conflict. Reckless speech can incite strife, but prudent words foster peace. This principle has a central place in biblical wisdom, reminding believers to be quick to listen and slow to speak. James 1 and verse 19. And this verse attributes multiple label or persona of the proud and artist corner. Verse 24, this verse attributes multiple label or persona to the arrogant individual, revealing how such a person's name becomes synonymous with pride. And this verse warns that an insolent heart tarnishes one's identity and leads to a reputation of mockery and conflict. The desire of the slothful killeth him, for his hand refused to labor. He coveted greedily all the days long, but the righteous giveth and spareth not. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination, or much more when he bringeth it with a wicked mind. Laziness is portrayed as self-inflicted problem, a self-inflicted wound, where an individual's perpetual craving meets no practical effort. And it said that he coveted greedily all the day. He's coveting, but he is not using the wisdom. He is not using because he lack wisdom and he lack understanding. He is not using whatever gift that God has bestowed upon him to make a honest living for himself. And we know that the Bible tells us, by the sweat of the brow you shall eat bread. A false witness shall perish, but the man that heareth speaketh constantly. A wicked man hardeneth his face, but as for the upright, he directed his way. There is no wisdom nor understanding nor counsel against the Lord. Those who lie in testimony face dire consequences. You know you are a witness and you lie when you're giving your testimony. Guess what? You can hide or you can lie in front of men, but guess what? God sees everything that you're doing. And in doing so, they lose all credibility. Meanwhile, the one who receives truth and speak it faithfully enjoys a voice that endures. An appalling truth, both in hearing and sharing, reflects loyalty to God's moral order. Verse 30 said, this verse stands as a powerful statement of God's ultimate supremacy. Human wisdom, plans, and strategies cannot prevail if they oppose God, because you cannot fight against God at no means necessary and win. And we see that when King Sennacherib went up against Hezekiah and he taunted and he speak badly about God, we see that it said in that night that the Lord sent one angel and it killed 185,000 of his Sennacherib army. You try to oppose God, you try to fight against God, you are fighting a losing battle. Another example, Saul, when he tried to fight against the early church, guess what? God met him on the way to Damascus and converted him. And we see that he was able to prevail against God. The surest foundation for any plan is to align with God's intention. Every scheme set against him, meaning God, will ultimately fail. The horse is prepared against the day of battle, but safety is of the Lord. Even as people take practical measures such as preparing for war by arming their horses in ancient warfare to gain an advantage, ultimate success is determined by God. It is wise to prepare, but believers must trust in the Lord for their final outcome. He alone grants the triumph that transcends human effort. And in conclusion, Proverbs 21 reminds us that God is not only concerned with our actions, he cares about the condition of our heart. True wisdom produces humility, righteousness, self-control, and obedience to God. May we become people who seek God sincerely, walk in integrity, and allow him to shape our hearts daily. Remember, people may see your action, but God sees your motive and he sees your heart. If this message challenged you, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And most importantly, don't forget to join the challenge. You are not too late. Comment below, Lord, search my heart, search my life. Have a blessed day. Bye.